Hello and welcome to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Doug Bartosh, also your city manager. And we're here today with Scott Ellis, who works for the city in our planning department. And we want to talk a little bit about development that's going on in the city. It seems like we've definitely recovered from the recession because there's a lot of development going on in the city. But first, before we get into those developments, Scott, tell us what a planner does.
Well, Doug, planners we are the first contact for people who come into the city looking to start a new business or grow their business or expand what they're doing. Zoning laws and zoning ordinances and regulations dictate who can do what, where, what kind of businesses can locate in certain parts of the city. They come to us to determine whether what they're wanting to do fits with the surrounding area and what they're looking at doing, make sure everything's compatible. Obviously, you don't want a warehouse industrial use in the middle of a subdivision. Right. So we try to keep an eye on things and make sure that things go where they should so it doesn't disrupt the everyday flow of life in the city.
You know, and that's probably one of the most important pieces of advice that I always try to give to people who, like you say, are expanding their business, who are purchasing a building with intentions of putting a building or a business in there, those kind of things, because invariably what happens is people think that they can come in and just do it, design it, change it, whatever. And there are rules and regulations that stipulate what you can do, what you can't do. It has to be inspected to make sure it's safe, whatever you do. So the first stop you should make is at our planning department. Sit down, talk to them about what you want to do. They're there to help you. They want to make sure that, you do get value for what you're putting in to the remodel or the new building, and certainly to make sure that you don't do something in violation of an ordinance or a regulation that you then have to take out and redo again. So
right.
It really is an important piece, an important stop, and make sure it's your first stop.
Right, and we are there to help people. We don't want to just tell them, no, you can't do it, close the door, see you later. Yeah. We want to help them know a lot of times before they purchase a piece of property. Sometimes they'll come to us. Unfortunately, there are some real estate agents who will tell people they could do something, but when they buy the property and come to us, it turns out that they can't do exactly what they want to do. Yeah. So
that's a good point. Because, again, making sure before you even purchase the property, come to planning and talk to them about what you want to do. As you said, Scott, you're not there to tell them no. You're there to make sure that they're getting the best value for their dollar.
Right.
By following all the requirements, and there are many requirements.
There are, yes, sir.
So anyway, we've have had a couple of busy years.
We have,
and that's a good thing because we're seeing some nice development in the city, and I guess what we're always interested in is not only residential development, but certainly commercial and industrial development as well. And so let's start off with some of the projects that are on the table or in the planning stage or actually under construction at this point. Okay. And I know the first one we have is Circle K.
Yes, Circle K is looking to come in at the corner of Mingus and Main. There's one there on the southwest corner. This new one is going to be on the northwest corner. Kind of where the Goodwill store is, and that vacant parcel, and some buildings that have been abandoned vacant for quite a while. They're looking at building a new upscale, approximately 5,800 square foot convenience store, new gas pumps, whole new layout to improve that visibility of the corner coming into Cottonwood from Mingus and along Main Street going into Old Town.
And I'm sure anybody who uses Circle K, the challenges of getting in and out of Circle K can be pretty intense.
Yes.
And not to mention it gets a little crowded in there because it's a pretty tight corner.
It does. And this one will hopefully eliminate all of that. They have a pretty big layout. They have that pretty much that entire block that encompasses from 15th to Main Street and then Mingus to Apache.
Yeah.
So they have a pretty large lot to accommodate that flow of traffic.
And as you can see by the schematic drawings, you know, it's really going to be much nicer, much more user friendly, and really much more service oriented.
Yes.
So that'll be nice. And of course, you know, the question is, I think they were leasing the building they were in. Any idea of what's going to go in there at this point?
I have not heard. Nobody has approached us. I believe their lease, from what I understand, runs out either next year or the year after. And from what I know right now, there's not been any talk of what's going to happen with that building.
I'm sure it won't take long, though. That's a pretty attractive corner.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, and the other thing that I know some people may have concern about is obviously Goodwill is going to have to move. And I know they've been looking at a couple of other locations in the city.
Yeah, I haven't heard exactly where they're looking yet. Nobody's come to us with that, but I do know that when Circle K came in and approached them, they were going to help them find a new location. They weren't just going to kick them out on the street, but assist every way they can to get them in a new location before they start their construction.
And my guess is and hope is that they're going to probably find a location that is more, you know, suitable to what they're doing, because I know they were getting kind of crowded.
Yeah, they get a little bit crowded in there, and access issues coming in there too, and parking. That whole corner is just ready for improvement.
Yeah, it really is. So what's the next project we got on the list? I think we have some industrial buildings going in up at the air park.
Yes, so recently we've had the last planning and zoning meeting for design review, 2 buildings on Air Park Road, 519 and 609 South Air Park Road, which is a small section in between Calvary Way and Cottonwood Street. It's known as the Bacchus Building. That's the name we were given for the project. The Bacchuses are basically constructing 2 new warehouse industrial type buildings. Not 100% sure what exact company's going in there, what exact type of use, but the use is geared towards that industrial warehouse type structure. That's what they're looking to put in there. That's how they're constructing it.
And that's really an ideal location, again.
It is.
Zoned appropriately.
It is. It's zoned I2, which is our heavy industrial zone, so it fits right in with what they're looking to do. There's a 3rd industrial building to go along with this. It went to the same meeting. It's Lefevre Land Investments is the one that's putting that one in. They're going to rent to Hughes Supply. That's at 656 South Willard, which is in between Willard and Air Park Road, that little section there. Currently, it's completely vacant all along there, so this will be the first building along that section of Willard that's being put in.
And that's, is that the Air Park, or is it the Airport Business Park?
It's the Cottonwood Business Park is what it's known as, yes. Yes.
Oh, well, that'll be a nice addition too.
And that's going to be approximately 14,000 square foot building. Again, a warehouse. It's also in the I2 industrial, heavy industrial area, which is allowed in there.
And again, the you know, anything having to do with manufacturing is always a plus in terms of our local economy. So I'm glad to see those come in as well. Let's go ahead and take our first break, and then we'll come back and hit some more of these developments.
Okay.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride!
There are people who struggle with addiction and homelessness. Sometimes it may feel like there is nothing we can do to help.
But there is. You can make a tax-deductible donation and help those in need transition away from homelessness.
When you give someone a handout, you could actually be supporting an addiction.
A better life starts with better health, especially for those living in the streets.
Support solutions, not addictions. You can make a difference. Visit cottonwoodcares.com.
Perfection. They need you.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Doug Bartosh, and I'm here with Scott Ellis, who's one of our planners here in the city, and we're talking about recent or planned developments that are coming into the city pretty soon. And we covered a couple, and now I know one that a lot of people are really excited about is the expansion of the Tavern Hotel in Old Town. I think they're pretty close to completion.
Yes, it looks like they are. I've actually seen recently online that it appears that they're starting to look for employees to hire, so I think they'll be done pretty quick. It's been a couple years in the making. They want to expand that hotel approximately 18,000 square feet addition to what was originally there, which only consisted of a couple rooms. And now they're going to have 31 additional rooms on top of what was already there. So pretty significant expansion, and I think a good fit for the Old Town area.
And what's do you know what the total square footage of that is?
The new addition is 18,000 square feet.
Wow.
I'm not quite sure what the original square footage was on the first section of the building.
So that'll give them 10 rooms in the old building, 31?
31 additional
in the new
rooms,
one, so
yes.
that's 40, and then I know they have the penthouse, and then they have the place over Bocce as well. So that's going to be a substantial increase in rooms down in the Old Town area.
Yeah, it should bring a lot of people in for the events that we have down there.
Well, and it seems like every weekend the rooms down there are booked way in advance. So, you know, and even during the week, most of the time, all the available rooms, both at the Tavern, Cottonwood Hotel, and Iron Horse Inn are all pretty much booked. So this will be a nice addition, and hopefully add another, you know, 60 to 70 people in the Old Town area on the weekends and during the week. So, and I know there's some work going on right around there too. I know they're paving the alleyway, getting ready to do that, and adding a parking lot as well south of the building.
They are, yes. They have got approval to do a parking lot to accommodate. As everybody knows, parking in Old Town is not that great depending on what's going on and how many people we have down there. So they're going to add additional parking to that area to help accommodate that, their hotel visitors and their employees that work at the hotel and the tavern and some of the other businesses in Cottonwood, to help pull those spaces and open up some of the ones in the public parking areas.
Yeah, and I know there's a section that'll be exclusively for you know, hotel residents, employees, those kind of things. But there's also going to be some public spaces that are available as well.
There will. That'll be on the north side of Pima Street. So the parking on the south side will be for the hotel, for the staff, for the employees of the tavern. And then on the north side of Pima, there's going to be additional spaces that will be part of a public parking lot.
And again, you know, moving those employees into that space is going to open up more space closer to Main Street.
Yes.
For visitors to park. And do you know what the total number of spaces planned for that lot?
It's in the 20s. I know the numbers jumped around a couple of times with a space or two here or there missing for this reason or that reason, but it'll add 20-something spaces, I believe.
Yeah, I thought it was more. It may be closer to 30.
yeah.
So with the public spaces too. The other question is, are you aware of what they're doing with the little house just north of the new parking lot?
They've come to us with a couple different ideas. I have not heard anything recently on what they're looking to do. I know previously they had looked at turning it into a salon of some sorts, but I think that idea has gone by the wayside, and I'm not sure what they're planning now.
Okay. Well, so we'll just have to
wait and see.
have to wait and see. It may be another housing location, I would think. So another project, which again is a fairly large commercial project, out at the Catholic Church, and what's going on out there?
Yes, so they have recently approached us in the last few months as well. They did get all their approvals through the Planning and Zoning Commission. They're looking at building a significant senior housing facility, and it's going to serve independent living, assisted living, memory care, and is going to be a rectory for current and retired priests who would like to live there. It's going to be fairly large, 155 beds is what they're starting with now. It's going to be about 150,000 square feet approximately, maybe a little bit less than that. So there's going to be 4 stories, different levels of care on each floor. There's also going to be a new social hall. If you're familiar with that area, the social hall they have now is a modular building that they had placed out there years ago before the church was built. So they're moving that, and then they're going to build a permanent social hall that matches the church and the new housing facility, and then also new parish offices. And that's going to go along with the church that's already out there and the elementary school. So
that's getting to be a more used area out in,
it is,
you know, at that corner, and we anticipate that that'll eventually become a pretty intensive use corner.
Yeah, they have future plans. Their master plan shows the possibility of future junior high school out there, the possibility of a future high school, some ball fields, and everything that goes along with the school type setting, along with the church and the senior housing. So,
and I know we have a big L shaped section of state trust land out there as well that is certainly, you know, eventually it'll be sold off to somebody, I imagine, for development. So that'll be on the, what would that be, the northwest corner?
Yeah, the northwest of it.
And then you have the Tau Fellowship, they've always got some different ideas that they're bringing in, and we anticipate that they'll probably do something out there in the near future.
Yeah, they've had some preliminary plans of doing some sort of commercial entity out there on their property to expand. They got a pretty large piece of property across Bill Gray Road from the church as well. And with what they have thought about, with what the church has thought about, being neighbors, the property owners talk a lot and seem to be able to agree on who's going to do what and make everybody happy.
Yeah. You know, and last but not least is 89 and Vine, which is on the south east corner or northeast corner of Cordville Road and 89A. We still have that development, still trying to work out the infrastructure details of that development. But again, that's 2,050 homes, and then 100 acres of commercial. I think some mixed use in there as well.
Yeah, some mixed use in there, and that would be a very, very large project when that one gets going as well.
So again, you can see how that intersection is going to become pretty intense in terms of its use, and certainly there's going to need to be some transportation improvements in that area to make it all work. So, but we'll see what happens on that. But it is moving forward, and you know, probably in the next 10 years, we'll see some very nice commercial development out in that area as well. Let's go ahead and take our next break and come back and join us and hear what else is going on in the city.
There are people who struggle with addiction and homelessness. Sometimes it may feel like there is nothing we can do to help.
But there is. You can make a tax-deductible donation and help those in need transition away from homelessness.
When you give someone a handout, you could actually be supporting an addiction.
A better life starts with better health, especially for those living in the streets.
Support solutions, not addictions. You can make a difference. Visit cottonwoodcares.com.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride!
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Doug Bartosh, and we're here with Scott Ellis from Planning, and we're talking about the various projects going on in the city right now. And I know one that a lot of people are very excited about because it really does a lot to kind of substantiate our brand of being the heart of Arizona wine country is Galileo 33. And so tell us about that one, Scott.
That is a very large project coming through. They recently came through the planning and zoning process and city council for rezone approval to go from residential to what we call PAD, which is planned area development. They're at 770 North Verde Heights Drive, which is up on the hill right above Old Town where the old Masonic Lodge is that has been sitting vacant for many, many years. So they have come in to purchase that property and improve it, and they're going to put in a winery, a restaurant, a vineyard, and a tasting room. So they're doing pretty full, extensive development of that project to bring in a large commercial, agricultural type business into the Old Town area, to make that area a destination for wine enthusiasts.
You know, and again, if you know where this location is, it's pretty unsightly. It's you know, the old Masonic Lodge, and it's beat up and it's been set on fire once or twice, and so this is really a nice redevelopment project. And and again, to be able to terrace those hillsides with vineyards is going to just look so spectacular.
Yeah, and they're going to have walking access from Old Town up to the restaurant and up to their winery and their building up there. And there'll be two different ways. They're going to put a sidewalk in going along Verde Heights if you want to walk up that way and around through the parking lot. Or they're going to have kind of an interior trail system to walk along the terraced vines that you can walk through to get up there and kind of stop and look at what's going on and get a feel for how they're growing their grapes.
And again, this is a substantial investment in the community. So, you know, between this project and then the hotel, I think it's really got great potential to create economic development, some real economy in the Old Town area and throughout the city.
Yeah. And they're still looking. They still have to get their design review approval from the Planning Commission. However, like I said, they did get their rezone approval, so that's the big step there. So,
well, I know there's a lot of people really excited about this project as well.
Is, yes.
You know, in talking about the Masonic Lodge, is that I know there was a new Masonic Lodge kind of in the making as well.
There was last year a Masonic Lodge approved for along 12th Street, just across from the motor vehicle office. That's going to be in the works. I do believe they've submitted for their permits and things like that to get started. I don't think they've gotten started yet. I haven't been by there to notice, but I know that they're moving forward with that.
Now, I think it's more across from Ace Hardware on 12th Street.
It's kind of in between.
In between there?
The motor vehicle and Ace.
Okay.
Right there. So.
Okay. So if anybody's a Mason out there, you're in luck. They're building a new building here in Cottonwood. And the next, another Old Town project that is going to be kind of interesting as well is LeMaine. And
Yes.
tell us a little bit about that one.
This is a very interesting project. There's 2 parcels one's on fronting Main Street, one's on Cactus, 920 North Main and 925 North Cactus, separated essentially by the alley that runs through there between Pima and Pinal. The developer would like to come in and construct a building on Main Street, mixed-use residential commercial. So the bottom floor is going to be commercial with 2 levels of residential on top of that. And then the Cactus Street building is going to have a parking garage kind of at the ground level, and then 2 stories above that for residential. So in total, there's going to be about 9 residential units, and they're looking at selling them as condos, not just renting them out as apartments.
You know, and again, this is a nice development for the Old Town area. You know, 10 years ago, you wouldn't have seen this kind of interest in Old Town, so it's very encouraging to see this kind of development in the Old Town area.
Yeah, and the Main Street building is where that's going to go, is a vacant lot right now. It's one of the very last ones on Main Street, or it could be the very last one on Main Street in that section of Old Town.
Yeah,
so
that's
right.
right.
Nice to have that developed.
Yeah, because now it's just a lot of old paradise trees in there, so it'll be nice to get something in there that looks a little nicer than that. You know, anybody who's a regular user of Maverik has probably been a little bit disappointed lately because they've been closed, but they're working on a complete rebuild of their facility there as well.
Yes, they are. They're looking at expanding their store and tear down the old one, which they've already done, and build a bigger, more attractive, more consumer-friendly place to stop in, get your gas, get your conveniences, your sodas and chips and whatever else you might want. They're expanding to the south a little bit. They purchased some property from the hospital that they owned in order to accommodate that. So it'll be a lot easier to get in and out and a lot more room. Again,
it seemed to be one of those gas stations where it was always busy.
Yes.
And a little crowded getting in and out of it.
Yes, it's definitely crowded at Maverick too. I don't think quite as bad as Circle K, but it can get definitely crowded. So this will be a good improvement as well.
Yeah, it will. So looking forward to that. And I know there's a discussion about another project west of the hospital, right off of 89A there. I don't know if you've heard much about that, whether that's moving forward, commercial in the front and some kind of a multi-residential in the back.
Yeah, we've been approached about possible mixed use, some apartments, and then some sort of medical office commercial in the front, right facing along 89A, and that would be on the south side of the highway.
Yeah, and again, that would require rezoning because it's zoned industrial and...
Yeah, it's partly industrial, partly commercial, and so they would need to come in for a rezone, and they're in the very preliminary stages of discussing it with us. So, but they are moving forward right now.
And I know there's a couple of challenges related to being that close to the airport as well, and they've got to meet some requirements from the Federal Aviation Administration. So
yeah, a lot of it's noise requirements. The FAA doesn't want residential in there and without people knowing what they're getting into, so they don't start getting complaints and concerns saying, well, I didn't know I was moving next to an airport. So if the FAA is, they need to approve what the developer would do to help eliminate that problem.
And probably our newest housing development that's actually taking off is the Vineyards.
It is. It's along 89A as you're headed to Clarkdale, kind of starting mostly on the northwest side of Drosetta Ranch Road. They will expand to both sides eventually, but I believe they're starting on the north side of that. They're going to begin with some residential units. Phase one is 46, approximately 44, 46 homes. They're going to have a variety of, the overall project is going to have a variety of condos, patio homes, and single family homes.
So there'll really be a mixed, mixed use.
Of them, so.
And I think this development is a total of 550 units.
Yeah, about 550, 555 total residential units between all the different types of housing.
And again, with a small commercial area, I think, internally.
Yeah, and they'll have a little community center, approximately 3,000 to 4,000 square feet. They'll have trails that go around the exterior of the community, some going through the community, and connection to Old Town with Grosseto Ranch Road.
And then I know we have Gray Fox Ridge. They're just about built out.
They are. I think they have maybe a couple lots left, if any.
Yeah, so they've done a great job. Mesquite Hills still has a couple of phases to build out, but they're selling homes fairly rapidly.
They are.
Any others? I know there's Bill Jackson has a kind of a condo project.
Yeah, he's got his
off of
townhomes
12th
off
Street.
of 12th Street. Those are going fairly well.
Yeah.
He's renting those out, no problem, it sounds like.
Yeah. And that's probably one of the things we're hoping to see in the near future is more rental opportunities out there, because our rental market is, you know, the supply is low, so the price is high, and we definitely need some more rental projects out there. So a lot of great stuff going on. You know, thanks to Scott and all the staff at planning, because they've really been staying busy with this, and they do a great job of helping people get their projects off the ground. I hope this was informative for you. We'll come back again in a couple of months and give you an update and let you know how things are going. But in the meantime, come back and join us anytime on Inside Cottonwood.